I was also wondering about some of the inspiration which might have affected you for the past year or two. From what I understood, you're not a book reading fan, but you're probably as me often tend to stick to your classics that you like from the series movies. Were there some either discoveries or coming back to the classics? One fan even was asking if it might be iRobot movie, but any sort of the let's say movies which helped you to discover something you haven't seen there before. Personally, I watch Interstellar at least once a year to sort of the mind refresher and total mind helper.
Cool. Yeah, that was a great movie indeed. And I remember seeing Arrival, which was good.
Yes.
I gave up on Star Trek. Really, it was like I don't get it anymore. I think too much of the sci-fi nowadays is based on action, is based on the effects and stuff like that.
Yes.
And what I liked about Star Trek, was the fact that it was about people and it was about human emotions and there was a little bit of humor in it. And it wasn't all about the effects. I love it when a movie looks great. That's fantastic. Like Prometheus, that looked so amazing, especially in 3D. But then I miss the story and I miss the personal things. So yeah, it's getting harder and harder for me to find good stuff in sci-fi. And I don't think sci-fi really inspires me to come up with my own stories. It's really the music that inspires me more than movies. I just started watching Westworld now. It's pretty interesting. It looks fantastic and but I don't think stuff like that really inspires me.
Yes. You were mentioning music inspires you. Is that the songwriting itself inspires you, or you discover new music at the same time?
Yeah, it's weird. I always find it hard to explain inspiration. I think inspiration can be two things. One, it can be hearing something and trying to copy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's called inspiration. Inspiration for me basically is feeling good. An email from a fan who's telling me like, oh man, I was so depressed and I wanted to give up, and then I heard your music and it gave me a purpose in life. That gives me inspiration.
Understood.
Yeah, but inspiration, I think of, okay, I want to grab my guitar now and I want to be creative. That's inspiration for me. And it can be anything. It can be well, let's not get into details, but it can be having a good time with Laurie. That can be very inspiring.
That's one of the best inspirations in the world, yes?
Yes. I don't think, it's not like, oh, I listen to music, oh, and now I want to do something like that. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think, of course, my formative years, of course, they had an effect on the way I write. If you hear a song like Into the Ocean, that's clearly the Blackmore Dio Rainbow influence is there, and the Floyd influence will always be there. But it's not consciously, I think.
Yes.
It's more just in my system. I'll never get it out, and I'll never deny, that I'm inspired by that stuff.
Yes. That's actually the best that you could say actually about just feeling fine with some art.
Really?
And that's why I'm wondering, and I want to lead into that question. Coming from Interstellar, I'm really big fan of post-rock music. At the same time, as you as a prog music fan, how do you judge the current progressive metal bands? I mean, the new generation from the Gen scene. It can be Tesseract, Leprous. So I was wondering if these two genres of post-rock and also modern progressive metal, with these guys going through lovely ambient atmospheric areas as well with that music, is this the music that you like, or that you like that some fans might have recommended to you lately?
Of course, I listen to everything. I listen to everything, and all the bands you mentioned I listen to. I listen to it while I'm jogging. It's always every day I want to listen to something new.
Yes.
Especially, I'm subscribed to a lot of magazines, and if it's album of the month, I always listen to it and check it out. Even if I don't like it, I want to stay updated.
Bravo.
But unfortunately, coming back to my formative years, I can't enjoy music anymore as much as I did in the 70s when I was growing up, or even the 60s. I think the problem is that I'm too close to the fire. I know too much, and if I listen to Leprous or Haken or Haken or whatever,
Bravo.
or Tesseract, all the bands you mentioned, I listen to it as a musician, and it's impossible for me to listen as a fan, and I hate that. I don't like it. I can still listen to completely different music as a fan, but not to music that's close to what I do. I was always afraid of that happening, but it has definitely happened.
Okay.
Which means that I listen to those bands maybe once, maybe a second time, but it won't have like many listens.
Absolutely. Well, that's why rather to be something that you might enjoy. If you have checked Steven Wilson's remixes of old classics from Yes, Jethro Tull, all the other geniuses from the 70s. He's doing the 5.1 remixes, and if you have checked these releases and if you're satisfied as a long-term user.
Oh yeah, fantastic. I haven't listened to all of them, but I love 5.1, I have my own 5.1 set now, recording-wise in my studio. I did my last album in 5.1. I did it myself for the first time. And I did the theater equation in 5.1. You don't want to go back after that, Especially, you're not going to listen to AC/DC in 5.1, but my stuff is perfect for it, with all the voices and all the little effects and all the instruments coming from all sides. And really, when I'm doing this 5.1, I'm having so much fun. It's like, oh yeah, and also listening to it, listen to, especially prog music, which is adventurous music with a lot of stuff happening. And Steven Wilson, he's just brilliant. Everything is brilliant about that guy. Even his interviews. Really. A couple of weeks ago, I never have time to stand in front of YouTube, and I don't have the patience, but I just downloaded a couple of his interviews of YouTube, and I just watch it, in the evening after I watch like a good movie, and lying on the couch watching some interviews. Even that is inspiring, The guy is really, he's really brilliant.
Absolutely.
And I love his remixes too.
When we were talking about the vinyls, there are plenty of fans always asking if there will be a chance for having Electric Castle on vinyl or any other releases lately, but especially vinyl available for a decent price very soon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I talked about it with the record company. Of course, I'm with a new record company now. And they also bought the whole back catalog.
Lovely.
So they're definitely planning on releasing them all on vinyl. They do it chronologically. So they started with the first two albums, Actual Fantasy and Final Experiment, which were never released on vinyl. So that was cool. And they did a fantastic job. They made such cool packages, and they are lovers of vinyl. They really put a lot of work into having it sound good and stuff like that. I was hoping they would do Electric Castle this year, but I don't think it fits into their planning. So I don't know if they'll make it this year, but definitely the castle will be next.
Yes, okay. If we talk now about the guests on the album, you have chosen again a hell of a spectrum of the list and some incredible names. At the same time, I enjoyed seeing some familiar faces and hearing some familiar voices. But at the same time, there are few new singers. Especially there is a single of Mirath, and from the prog metal scene, you actually brought Tommy from Between the Buried and Me. So that's sort of surprising in there. Luckily, you relied also on the instrumental section, having incredible Ed Warby and also guys on violin and flute. But you were not that experimental with the singers as you used to be, let's say, on a 0101 album. And always you mention that you get plenty of tips from the fans, but you were not deciding, right, to include this time somebody completely new, at least 2 or 3.
You mean unknown?
Yes, yeah, maybe a very, very less known. Let's say there was actually you doing some hell of a great help for the people as Magali Luiten, also
Right.
Marianne
Right.
she's now in Autumn. Great
Right.
job for these people which deserve it. They're both incredible singers.
I know. I know. Yeah, you're right. I think the thing was, my last album, Theory of Everything, didn't do so well. It didn't sell so well, and a lot of the interviews I was reading, like it missed, to quote them, star power. And you know, the line was going down a bit. The sales were going down a bit. And with this album, you know, I feel it like it's a new start. That's why it's called The Source. It's a new record company, and somehow I don't know. It's a feeling. I want to prove myself to this record company. You know, they're working really hard for me, and they're like, okay, you know, show us what you've got. So this time, I really wanted to I wanted to work with the best singers in the world.
Yes.
And I also wanted to work with very distinctive voices, so you could tell them apart, you know, in the dialogue, singing and stuff. So yeah, I had the rule of only new singers on Human Equation and the Theory of Everything, but also I felt that would limit me here, especially because I already heard James LeBrie in a lot of the beginning parts, you know, a lot of the low emotional parts, and I already heard Hansi Koers on one chorus, and I was like, okay, you know, let's just ask guys that I've already worked with, and I think it's about 50-50. It's 50% people I've worked with, 50% people I haven't worked with. And the way I work is I just contact my favorites, and usually half of them can't do it, you know, or they're too busy or whatever. But this time they all said yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't want the same situation I had on 01, where there were just too many singers.
Oh, yes.
I remember there, what happened was I asked 20 singers and I heard nothing. It was like really, really quiet, and I was like, oh my God, you know, nobody wants to work with me anymore. So then I contacted even 10 more singers, and then suddenly in 1 week they almost all said yes, which is how I ended up with 17 singers on that album. And I think that's my only problem with 01. There's too many singers, which means that I couldn't give some of the singers enough space. I think, you know, a guy like Daniel Gillenlow or a guy from Evergrey, Tom.
Yes.
England. I don't think I could show them off enough. You know, I don't think I gave them enough space to shine. So I definitely didn't want more than 10 singers on this one.
Understood. What were the names, some of the names, please, that couldn't make it this time?
I can't remember. It was the guy from Death Angel. They had a song on their last album which I really, really liked. It was very Dio, kind of Dio, and he was very close to being on this album. I don't remember it. It was, but it was just a few. You know, most of them said yes this time.
Lovely. And congratulations to getting Paul Gilbert and Guthrie Govan. You're probably hoping to get these guys a lot. Plus, you concentrated rather more on the riffing than on the keyboards on this album, right?
Yeah, it's really a reaction to the Theory of Everything, which was very much a keyboard-oriented album. Of course, you know, I mean, with Keith Emerson, Rick Wakeman, and Jordan Rudess, you know. This time I wanted the best guitar players in the world. It's very arrogant to say so, but... and of course, Paul Gilbert, you know, is one of the heroes that I grew up listening to. And Guthrie Govan, I think, is the best guitar player in the world right now. I heard him on Drive Home, I think it was, from Stephen Wilson, YouTube. And it was like, oh, what is this? Who is this? You know, finally a guitar player who gave me goosebumps. And his solo on this album, you know, Planet Y is alive. It's really one of the best solos I ever heard. And that guy is truly scarily amazing. He even sent me two options, and they were both brilliant. You know, it was such a hard choice between those two.
And for the last question, we were just wondering, as you mainly concentrate on the bass, but you also play around with keyboards and you leave the solos to the others. But what about certain fast synth parts? Let's say on the song "Run Apocalypse."
I program them. Don't tell anyone. If it's too fast for me,
okay,
I have to program it. I can't program it all because a lot of it's analog synths, and I have to play them. You know, but if it's really too fast for me, I have to program them.
Yes, I left this one. It was sorry.
I get Joost in, you know, to play some of the difficult stuff.
Oh yeah, he can do the fastest things ever.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. This last question was coming from a fan. I love to, also work with the fans. And this was the fan question. So if you tell me not to use it and not to answer this question to the fan, don't worry, I can cut it out. Just your choice.
No problem, man. I answer everything.
All right, love to hear that. Well, thank you for a lovely interview. All the best to you and Laurie. It sounds amazing, and I'm so glad you're in such a lovely hands. And keep doing what you're doing, amazing things, and helps all of us. So
Great,
all the best, all the best to you.
Always good to talk to you.
Cheers. Have a lovely afternoon.
Time, man.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.